Digital technologies are changing our world, and they are to revolutionize our healthcare system for the better. They cover the creation of connected devices, remote or online treatments, new forms of prevention, information, and advice on health. They are called digital health. We can all benefit from digital health as it will make medicine personalized with more accurate diagnostics, preventive recommendations, and with higher quality of service while reducing costs thanks to a better efficiency. Today, innovators in digital health are pioneers, and they still need our support for bringing their ideas and solutions to the market, making sustainable success out of them. This is why CSS, EPFL Innovation Park, and key healthcare providers from Western Switzerland and beyond have decided to create the Future of Health Grant. The Future of Health Grant is an innovation program that offers early-stage startups and project holders a set of resources that they need to grow their business. The Future of Health Grant program is made of 4 supporting pillars. They are 1. Coaching from health innovation experts. 2. Mentoring from industry executives. 3. Practical professional services like app building or patient journey design. 4. Grant money to be used by startups to grow their project. The Future of Health Grant program focuses on results and progress, and with EPFL Innovation Park, CSS aims at finding the best solution for Switzerland. Join us in our mission to develop and support the medicine of the future.
Okay, welcome everybody. You can all have a seat. There are also some free seats here in front. On behalf of EPFL Innovation Park and CSS, welcome everyone to the opening ceremony of the Future of Health Grant and alumni of the InnoSwiss training event. We are really excited to have you all today with us, physical here in this room at SwissTech and also online from the Future of Health Grant website. My name is Johannes Brie, and I'm the program manager of this grant. And I previously, some of you know me because I was also the course marketing manager for the InnoSwiss training. So the future of health concerns everyone, regardless the sector that you are involved in and or developing your entrepreneurial project. And we are all here today to discover the latest technologies and the best startup in this domain for a better life for the seniors, for us, but also for the children, of course. I will be your host today with my colleague Jan Niklas from CSS.
Thank you, Johannes. Welcome to everybody also from my side. My name is Jan Niklas Kramer. I am an innovation manager at CSS. I have been involved in digital health for a little while now, starting back in 2016 with my PhD, and now I helped initiate the Future of Health Grant at CSS. I will also take this opportunity to introduce the third host of tonight, Nicolas. Nicolas is an entrepreneur. He built and successfully sold his AI business in Japan and subsequently decided to come back to Switzerland and dedicate his time and effort to building innovation in the Swiss healthcare system. He has co-founded the Tech Forever program that some of you know, and he's also an InnoSwiss coach, and he will join us on stage later this evening. Johannes, maybe you remember exactly 1 year ago, we started to think about an acceleration program for digital health in Switzerland. And here we are 1 year later, kicking off the Future of Health Grant. This is only possible with a good team and hard work and dedication. Within this 1 year, we conceptualized the program, we secured budget, we convinced partners to join us, we signed the contracts, we set up the program with the coaching and its pillars that we will explain later in further detail. And so tonight, we also want to celebrate this milestone a little bit with you and kick off the program. And we have what we think put together quite an exciting agenda for tonight. Johannes, why don't you share some details about this with us?
Thank you, Jan Niklas. Exactly. So we will start this event with a short presentation of Jean-Philippe Lallemand, the Managing Director of EPFL Innovation Park, so one of the two founding partners of this grant. And then we will have the CEO of CSS online, Filomena Colatrella, the other founding partner of this program. And we are honored to have with us today Professor Antoine Geisbühler, the Vice Rector of University of Geneva, in charge of, among other things, of course, the Innovation Center in the University Hospital of Geneva. And he'll talk to us about digital health. And then we'll have a panel discussion with key industrial players and academic partners.
After the panel discussion, we will welcome two startups of the business concept course, two business concept alumni starters who are today already very successful and have been on a journey over the past years that many of the Future of Health grant startups still have ahead. After that, we will dive deeper into the Future of Health grant program, explain more of the details, and then of course we will also announce the 10 winners, the 10 startups that were selected for the program for the first cohort. Enough of the explanation of the program. Johannes,
let
we're ready
me
to
introduce
start.
you then Jean-Philippe Lallemand, so the Managing Director of EPFL Innovation Park. So at EPFL Innovation Park, we are building bridges from academia to the startup world, especially here in Western Switzerland, but now with this type of program also globally in Switzerland. And well, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Johannes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear partners, dear entrepreneurs. We're very proud today and honored to work with CSS and launch this new program together. Since we're celebrating our 30 years of the EPFL Innovation Park, I'd like to give you a little bit of vision of where we are today and where we're going and why this prize is very relevant to us. So, you know, our mission has evolved a little bit over time. We moved from essentially entrepreneurship, high-tech entrepreneurship, to more and more scaling up innovation and startup for impact. So what matters now, I think, for all of us very much is how do we help society moving forward in all aspects, health, trust, and sustainability. So these are the main aspects we currently focus on, and this is an example of a quite promising startup that we have here that is in health tech. I chose specifically one not in health tech, but that is helping with the cooling of computers and servers. We have had over the years a very broad range of outstanding innovations, making it to market with a success. So it goes from 3D printing and coating to microscopy to artificial intelligence and augmented reality. So it's quite broad, and what makes it very unique and special, I think, at the EPFL and the Innovation Park and our community, is that we can put together those technologies for real success and real impact. So we have now more than 300 companies on site, on the different sites. We have also presence in Geneva at Campus Biotech Innovation Park, and very pleased to be there. We have in total 3,000 entrepreneurs and scientists. And if I include the exited company, probably at least 10,000 entrepreneurs, scientists that have gone through some of our premises and programs. We now have a stronger involvement of large companies, so 35 of them are already physically on campus, at least occasionally, and we have more than 300 large corporations working with EPFL labs that are very interested to come and join that. We have even more in our program. As you know, one sign of success is, as I say, the scaling up. So the scaling up is something we monitor very closely. About 10% of the startup become scale-ups. You have some extract here, and you see that in life science in particular, there have been many successes of successful scale-ups of company. And these are the ones that, again, translate this impact to the market because they have sometimes millions, if you take the case of social genetics, millions of tests that have already been produced. those successes are very inspiring for the new generation. So we're proud to see that some of the company made it to the stock markets last year. Again, Sophia Genetic that I mentioned, but also Onward Medical and Astrocast. So I don't have really the time to develop that, but those companies, again, are really helping with very concrete problems, such as a lack of mobility in the case of Onward and personalized medicine and cancer treatment in the case of Sophia Genetics. What we've seen as very important nowadays is to unite companies for success, so essentially, and for impact. So it is important to make sure that the startup, the scale-ups, the large corporation, the academia work together. And the only way to do that is through programs. Of course, events help as well, but you need programs as well. And we have a range of programs that have been developed over time. They are, again, in those three domains that we essentially monitor. Health, of course, and that's why we're here today with the Future of Health grant. But also, of course, sustainability. We have sustainability think tank, leaders think tank, sorry, that is in place, for instance, and some programs like Tech for Growth, and we're part of Swiss Triple Impact. And in the domain of trust, we have the Trust Valley that unites at the moment hundreds of companies around the terms of digital trust, also very important for health and digital health in particular. Now, digital health in particular really builds on EPFL and the Innovation Park strengths, because we have a lot of strength in big data, machine learning, and also quite a lot of experience in life science, medtech, biotech in particular. So all of that combined together provides a fertile ground for digital health project and successful startups. So we look forward to seeing a lot of them emerge and benefit from the grant. And to host them, we have a big project. By 2026, we're working on a very big expansion of the Innovation Park, 1 kilometer west from EPFL. It will be the EPFL Ecotop. And together with partners, we hope to have hundreds of thousands of square meters to host a company working with EPFL, hopefully on this domain and in general on all the domains that will have a strong impact, again, as I said, on society and the planet. I wish you a very successful program and continuation of the event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jean-Philippe. I think it's very impressive what you are doing, what you have built over the last 30 years, and we are grateful and happy to have such a strong partner for the Future of Health grant. Our next keynote speaker is Filomena Colatrella, the CEO of the CSS Group. Filomena can unfortunately not join us here in person tonight, but we are happy that she will be able to be present remotely. Filomena has been working at CSS for over 20 years now. She's a lawyer by training. She worked as a general counsel and then as a deputy CEO. And since 2016, she is the first female CEO of CSS. Under her leadership, CSS has put a strong emphasis on innovation and on the digitalization of the healthcare system. And one particular aspect is the collaboration and the support of startups that bring new and innovative solutions to the Swiss healthcare market. CSS does that, for example, with the SHV Venture Fund, and the Future of Health grant is the next chapter in that journey. Filomena will explain the vision of CSS and how the Future of Health grant fits in. We did have some audio challenges previously, but I hope that she can hear us now and is with us. Yes, that looks good.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jan-Niklas. I can hear you. Thank you very much, dear Mr. Lallemand, dear partners, dear startup community and guests. Let me start by thanking you all for your interest in our program, the Future of Health grant. I'm very pleased that today we can announce the first grants for startups that want to make a difference in the health sector. This is an important milestone for our program. My only regret is that I'm unable to join you in person. Nevertheless, I would like to lay out briefly our vision for the future of Health Grant, explain what drives us and why CSS supports this project. The Future of Health Grant supports startups that offer digital health solutions. You all know that Switzerland is hesitant about digitalization of the healthcare system. We are lagging behind many other European countries. We simply can't accept this backlog, and we don't have the luxury of failing to exploit the potential of digitalization. Digitalization offers us better quality, personalized medicine, shorter waiting periods, more precise diagnostic practices, and last but not least, the reduction of healthcare costs. We can't give up on any of these promises. The Swiss healthcare system has a reputation for being very good, but also very expensive. In order to continue offering this high quality in future, without incurring unaffordable costs, we have to exploit this potential. We dare not miss the boat when digital therapies can supplement and improve analog therapies, or when we can keep medical conditions in check with digital monitoring and improve the quality of life of a patient. We should grasp these opportunities. And when there's a way to break the race in healthcare costs without limiting the benefits, it is nothing less than our duty to grab this opportunity. The consulting firm McKinsey is assuming that the digitalization of the healthcare sector can lead to potential cost savings of 8.2 billion Swiss francs. This equals to 11.8% GDP in 2019. So you see, this is definitely a magnitude that would have a noticeable effect. Digitalization is therefore an obligation if, like us, you're a health insurer that campaigns for affordable premiums. But digitalization fuels others' expectations too. I see prevention playing a special role. In Switzerland, 2.2 million people suffer from non-communicable medical conditions such as diabetes or cardiovascular diseases. Here, prevention could be a powerful tool, as we are not entirely defenseless when it comes to many of these conditions. A healthy lifestyle can reduce the risk of disease and minimize the consequences. And digital tools have great potential in the field of prevention. This is already the case and will become even more so in future, thanks to ongoing innovations. Nobody knows this better than you. With the Future of Health Grant program, we want to help implement these objectives. Of course, we find it a pity that Switzerland still doesn't have a standardized electronic patient record, or that stored health data is so scattered that researchers have very restricted access to related data. But we don't want to criticize. At CSS, we want to actively support the digitalization of the Swiss healthcare system. And this is where the Future of Health Grant plays an important role. It focuses on startups in the early phase, meaning between establishment and the initial round of funding. When it comes to the promotion of innovation by CSS, the Future of Health Grant closes the gap between research, which we cover with the CSS Health Lab, and corporate venturing, where CSS invests in startups in the advanced phase through Swiss Health Ventures. With the Future of Health Grant, CSS is now involved in all phases of innovation. Traditionally, the early phase of startups, which we address with this grant, is a very vulnerable phase. It all begins with a very interesting idea, but there are still many hurdles to cross. Proof of concept, funding, and of course, testing whether customers like the product or not. This grant should provide not only financial support, but also support in the form of know-how and mentoring. The expectation is that this will make French-speaking Switzerland an even better location for startups. I'm particularly pleased that we are now engaging even more strongly in French-speaking Switzerland. As a Lucerne-based company, this strengthens our ties to Western Switzerland, and we have a real driver of innovation at our side in EPFL Innovation Park. I'm convinced that this will be a fruitful partnership for both parties, and we are not the only ones supporting this offer. Our joint objectives is to involve other specialized partners to help us create an ecosystem that will have a sustainable impact and generate new disruptive solutions. In the end, this will benefit society as a whole. With Pfizer, HG Arc, Sülke, Takeda, Microsoft Health, École de la Source, and Vaudoise, we have built up a strong network that will drive the future of health grant forward and bring together very different perspectives and skills. And I really appreciate the presence today of 3 important hospitals in Western Switzerland: CHUV, HUG, and Hôpital de la Tour. Service providers and hospitals play an important role in digitalization and implementation of digital therapies and treatments. I therefore truly appreciate your interest and your contribution to today's event. So today we can announce the names of the first startups that will benefit from the future of health grant. But this is only the start. In future, we will support new startups every year. The next call for projects will be made in January already. Today's event and the interest shown by you make me optimistic that we have created a sustainable accelerator of digitalization in the healthcare sector with this new grant. I wish all of you an interesting event and much success with your projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Filomena Colatrella, for this vision of CSS, and I can definitely feel that we can, with this program, bridge a need between the research and the first financing rounds. That's also one of the goals. Also, you mentioned the importance of implementing those solutions inside the healthcare system. And to talk about the healthcare service providers, we have the pleasure to get with us today Professor Antoine Gaisbühler. He is the Vice Rector of the University of Geneva, the Director of the Division of E-Health and Telemedicine at the Geneva HUG. And I invite all of you to ask questions. You can take a picture of this QR code if I move on that side. And you can also, ask questions to Professor Antoine Gaisbühler if you want. It's now with this QR code. And also you can also upvote or I think downvote the different questions that you see, so we can ask the most relevant ones afterwards. Okay, I'll let you maybe 30 seconds to take a picture of this slide. And then I will invite you, Antoine Gaisbühler, Professor Antoine Gaisbühler, to move on stage for this presentation. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I'm really excited to see so many of you here, so many of you startuppers, inventors, entrepreneurs, maybe old-timers. I've been in this business of digital health for more than 30 years. We didn't call it digital health then, it was more medical informatics, but pretty much the same. And as Ms. Colatrella said, we would welcome some acceleration. We started working on the electronic patient record 20 years ago, and hopefully now it's actually starting to happen. So it takes time, but it takes energy and it takes acceleration if we really want to make a difference in the domain of health and healthcare, and obviously getting the capacity of digital health to really improve things. Yes. So the title of my talk is about digital health. The future is in our hands, and when I mean in our hands, I mean different things. First, in our hands as citizens, citizens facing the digital age. with all the promises, but also all the challenges that are important. The issues of privacy, the issue of trust, the issue of how much we can actually work and benefit from artificial intelligence. All these challenges are things we need to be discussing, to be working, to be innovating on. Us in our hands as professionals, because the digital tools are changing the way we work, are changing the roles of the stakeholders and the professionals in the field of health and healthcare. New roles are happening, new ways of working. Think about telemedicine, think about the ability to move expertise without having to move physically people, whether they are professionals or patients. Those are big changes that we need to be able to deal with. And finally, what we have in our hands that is really changing the face of health and healthcare is the mobile connected technology. And that's obviously a very enabling technology that probably most of you involved in digital health will try to capture and deal with. I stole this line from a very interesting book that you may have seen. It's now getting old. It's probably more than 6 or 7 years old, by Eric Topol, a visionary on digital health. And the title is "The Patient Will See You Now." And that was really foreseeing the change in organization of the health system, moving from a doctor-driven health system. You know, you wait in the waiting room of your doctor and finally the doctor will see you now, whereas now the whole idea is turned upside down. The patient is actually driving the way he or she takes care of the health, maintaining the health, and also deciding how to be treated. And the subtitle is "The Future of Medicine is in Your Hands." Now, going back to 30 years ago about what happened in the health system and slowly evolved, this is a picture taken in my hospital, Geneva University Hospitals, in the late 80s. When the first information systems were deployed. And at that time, the issue was about digitization, moving from paper to digital. And it was about how can we improve communication within the hospital. And it's interesting to see that the model that was chosen was, you know, as you can see, there is no keyboard. It was a voice-enabled system, except at the other end, it was an operator, not a chatbot. But that's really this decade was really about moving from paper to digital. The next decade was really about how can we bring tools to influence the decision support of clinicians. How can we add into a team, and here you have a team that's making clinical rounds in the hospital with doctors, nurses. You can see some paper leftovers, but also a computer, and this computer can have some intelligent behavior, giving advice and influencing the way decisions are being made, and enhancing collaboration between healthcare professionals. And then in the next decade, we really worked on the ability to use digital technologies to involve patients, to involve families into the care processes. And you have here an example of one of the first startups and one of the first apps that was developed in our hospital, helping parents deciding whether they should or not go to see the emergency room for their kids, but also if they decided to go there, organizing the care, notifying the hospital that someone would be arriving so that this person would be welcomed and could be taken care of, but also then making sure that all the information that would be necessary for taking care of the patient, but also after the discharge from the hospital, would be available. I think what has changed in this decade is really the understanding of the importance of data. I think a lot has been said about this. I like this picture because it summarizes quite nicely what's been going on over the last 40 years with the development of mobile technology, PCs, the World Wide Web, the digitization of biology with the sequencing of genomes as an example, but there are many others, and then the development of the Web 2.0, the social networks and so on. And the idea is that now we're faced with this huge amount of sources of data from the health information systems, imaging systems, the internet, genomics, the social networking, mobile connectivity, sensors, and other devices. And how do we make sense out of it? How do we master the ability of dealing with this data? How do we use advanced analytics? How do we use machine learning to really make sense of this data? And the idea is that if we're able to do so, then we should improve our understanding of disease, we should improve our capacity to make diagnosis, we should improve our ability to manage disease, in particular chronic diseases, be more predictive, be more preventative, be more participative, be more personalized, the 4 Ps of digital health. And so this is sort of the framework we are currently in, and I'm sure that you as innovators are somewhere here dealing with some of these issues. Now, I'll say a few words about what we've been trying to do at a hospital like Geneva University Hospitals. It's the largest university hospital in Switzerland with about 14,000 collaborators. And the idea was to really set up an environment proposing that everyone in this hospital could make a difference. And that was the creation of the HUG Innovation Center way back in 2015, with the goal to stimulate ideation, rapid prototyping, support the development and implementation of projects, and facilitate technology transfer to the market. I should also say, welcome ideas coming from the outside and test them for real in the real setting of a hospital or a bit larger as we have also a lot of outpatient activity. So basically what we do is promote ideation, and there are different tools that we use. We catalyze innovative projects. We are also able to fund the growth of those ideas into projects and projects into pilot projects. Once they grow a bit larger, then it's another issue, but we have a full ecosystem that we can rely upon outside of the hospital for incubation, for helping startup grow and so on. That's the ecosystem. And obviously, we work with our tech transfer office to protect intellectual property, to support the tech transfer procedures, and to promote the startup creation. So we've been doing not so bad over the 5 years, and I'm here mentioning only the ideas and prototypes that were really in the hospital. I'm not counting what's happening at the Faculty of Medicine or at the Faculty of Sciences, which are producing lots of patents and startups and so on. This is really what came out of the hospital, with more than 100 projects catalyzed, 20 of which have reached full scale, at least in the hospital, which is quite interesting. Reaching, it's an inside market already quite big. With many inventions. A few startups have been created already, and obviously a lot of events with a lot of participation and the ability to raise internal sources of money to promote those projects. And so just to give an idea of what we do, first, we were able to get the most expensive square meters in the new flagship building of the hospital, and that's also an important commitment of our leadership to say the innovation is at the center of the hospital. We're just above the intensive care units and just below the inpatient care units, and that's where we organize hackathons. That's where we organized monthly cafes for innovation and research, innovation lunches, startup days. One of the meetings I like a lot is the Appy Hours, where app developers meet and discuss how they actually translate their ideas into something that can be tested in the hospital. So that's for the hospital, and as I said, if you're interested to test your ideas of digital health in a hospital setting, think about us and HUG, and we will be really happy to discuss that with you. Now, obviously, that's only part of the picture, and you have to understand that you live in an extremely rich ecosystem, this ecosystem of Western Switzerland. It's also known as the Health Valley, a concentration of academia, hospitals, industries, startups, and all the stakeholders helping translating ideas into projects and into commercial ventures. And so BioAlps is one of the key players in animating, empowering this area. So it's the Western Switzerland Life Sciences Cluster. It's a project, it's actually an association that is funded by the economic development of 7 cantons of Western Switzerland, but also associating academia, hospitals, and obviously the industries present in the area. The mission is really about increasing the visibility, the networking, and the partnerships, leveraging on the tradition of innovation in the area, the fact that we have an excellent standard of living, that there is state-of-the-art infrastructure, and that we have a stable political and economic environment, trying to attract also companies to join this breeding ground for innovation. For the moment, there are 1,000 plus actors involved in the area. As you can see, digital health is a sizable chunk. It's more than 10% of all the industries active in the field. And then you have the academic institutions, the economic promotion, and obviously all the tools that are supporting innovation, including the EPFL Innovation Park that was highlighted before. It's a gateway to services within the region, and so what BioAlps does is an entry point for promoting, developing, sustaining growth for this Western Switzerland Life Sciences Cluster, but also a service hub for increasing the attractiveness and the competencies of this cluster. And it works at the local level, it works at the regional level, and it works at the global level by doing different things, building the network, promoting events, organizing partnerships, communicating at the regional level and connecting what's going on in Western Switzerland, but also at the global level to encourage companies to widen their networks, to work at the international level. And the next big event that I would be happy to see you at is the BioAlps Networking Day, taking place on the 24th of November in Neuchâtel. And you can have more information about BioAlps and the kind of services that you could leverage from using this QR code. And with this, I hope I've sort of shown you, what's the place of digital health and the need for digital health in improving our health system. The role of a hospital in doing so, which is something a bit new. When we started at the Innovation Center at the hospital, I think we were the second innovation center in a hospital in Europe, so that was something quite unusual. I think now pretty much any hospital of a decent size is trying to have innovation within the hospital itself, and I think that's an extremely important movement. And then remember that you are part of a complex ecosystem and that there are actors who try to make sure that everyone can connect with everyone else. That really increases the capacity, increases the efficiency and the possibilities of innovation and translating that for digital health. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Geisbühler. If you want to have a seat, I have a few questions for you that we see, and I see on my tablet as well. Very interesting question. I was not expecting so many questions, and they are very good questions. There is one which is definitely super upvoted, and we'll focus on this one. I think you can read it as me. What is the biggest struggle in practice to digitalize health with 4 solutions? Is it politics, money, traditional mindset, or the willingness of the doctors and hospital?
I would say A and D. If we look at
A is money, no, politics.
Politics and the willingness of doctors. Money is not usually an issue. If you have a good idea, if you can make a good sell, either for public money or private money, I think you can find what you need to really build tools to digitalize sales. The return on investment, money-wise, takes time. Takes years, so you cannot really, if you have a business plan that will make you break even in 6 months, it's probably not credible. It really takes time because, it's a complex environment. But really what you need is the ability to convince the professionals in particular that they will gain something by changing. We are in a relatively conservative environment, an environment that is changing probably faster than mentalities, where professionals are being challenged, moving from a relatively liberal environment to a more and more controlled environment. The issue of trust is an extremely important issue, and I'm so happy that we have a trust valley developing in the area, because that is one of the key challenges. And then politics at various levels, creating the framework conditions that you can actually deploy things. One of the big hurdles for telemedicine is the fact that reimbursement of telemedicine is almost non-existent, whereas so doctors will always favor having a face-to-face meeting because that's how they will pay their bills. So, there need to be changes that are not so easy to explain and not so easy to develop, but that's really where we've seen the major challenges over the years.
But we will have a panel with key players here, and I will take the seats of the entrepreneurs, the people in the room, because I was an entrepreneur, and I want to talk on behalf of them. And if I'm an entrepreneur in the digital health and I've found my topic, found my problem to fix, what do I do to change the willingness of the doctors, which is the point D? You don't see the question, but it's point D. How do you approach your colleagues to convince them that there is a way to change there are solutions existing on the market that they can test, they can take the risk? Is it something that you can manage at HUG?
Oh yes, definitely. I think one of our roles is to connect entrepreneurs with care professionals, mostly doctors, so that they can actually test the solutions, help adjust those solutions, evolve those solutions, make sure they're relevant in their domain of activity. And usually once you have convinced one or two of them about the value that you're going to be creating with your innovation, it's much easier. I think most of the innovations that scaled up in our hospital scaled up because we had this right mix of innovators with an entrepreneurial spirit and care professionals, mostly doctors, willing to really tackle the thing, make it work, and then they're much better at convincing their peers and their colleagues than someone coming more from a technical background.
Okay. Excellent. There is a question which is not appearing here, but I have on my tablet, which is related to the data. And the question is saying, what is the degree of readiness among partners, hospital in particular, to share and allow data to be used and analyzed? So there is the sharing, but my question is not exactly, this is an interesting question, but I want to build on this question and say, do you think that the healthcare professionals are well equipped to manage the data? Are they trained to the data? What is the culture of data in an entity like HUG?
So I think there are different aspects. The maturity in terms of dealing with data has grown a lot. I mean, we started putting electronic medical records in the hospital 30 years ago, and so this has become mainstream. I think the issue is that this data is produced through care processes to support care processes, and that works relatively nicely, I would say. Now, where it hurts is when you want to reuse this data for other purposes, one of them being biomedical research. And so because that means that you need to make the data consistent, understandable, semantically interoperable, shareable, fair, as we say now, findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. And that's something that hasn't been in the culture for long, I would say. Since 2017, there is a large-scale project in Switzerland called the Swiss Personalized Health Network that invested several hundreds of millions to actually turn around this problem, make sure that hospitals are actually able to produce shareable data, deal with the ethical, legal issues that come around it. And I think we're really currently moving into a system where we understand the value of being able to share data. That was very much highlighted during the COVID crisis. If you remember right, the first data that was shared through faxes. I think we can do better than that, and we've done much better than that. But that has raised the visibility of the need for sharing data. And I would say that we are currently sort of catching up. Because I think we were far behind at the European level. We're catching up. We now have this SPHN network. It's likely to be sustained and further developed, being able to connect also with non-university hospitals. For the moment, it's mostly a university hospital thing. And also connecting with the industry, connecting with all the stakeholders that could be interested in dealing with this data, which, as you know, is very precious, very rich, very data that could produce a lot of new knowledge and therefore improve the health system.
You mentioned the European level, and there was, probably you followed that, but there is on the September 12th, there is the announcements from the WHO, the European chapter, that they would focus for the next 3-4 years on 4 pillars. There is one which is the telemedicine. The other one is big data and AI. Another one is data collection for building some new health policies. And the last one is something interesting, is infodemia. Infodemia, you know this term? Yeah, I didn't know that. So infodemia is the proliferation of data, proliferation of information, which is not trustable. So the lack of trust actually in the information on medical side. My question is, are you involved in these kind of discussions with WHO
well, being in Geneva, it would be a shame not to be, even though WHO Europe is in Copenhagen, but WHO headquarters is in Geneva. And we collaborated since 2005. I think the first WHO resolution on e-health is from 2005. We actually helped write the one in 2013. So it's not something new for WHO, except they had many false start or incomplete starts, like many of us in the field of digital health. Recently, we created with WHO, the University of Geneva, and the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation, the Geneva Digital Health Hub, with the mission to actually learn from mistakes, learn from successes globally around digital health, and make sure that we can inform through science-based decision and policy making. So yes, we work with WHO, and the fact that digital health can make a difference, obviously in our health systems, but probably even more in health systems that are more challenged by resources, is something that's quite obvious, and we believe that we can make a difference. Okay, excellent, thank you. You stay here. I will welcome the 3 other panelists, starting with Stéphane Kohler from CHUV. Please join me on the panel, take a seat. Stéphane Kohler is the direction of innovation at the CHUV. So CHUV is, do I need to present CHUV? Is the university hospital from Canton de Vaud, of course, one of the first in the world in terms of ranking and in terms of science. My second panelist is Florian Rousseau-Fischer, who is Director of Innovation and Strategic Partners at Hôpital de la Tour in Geneva as well. And finally, my last guest is David Katin from Microsoft Health. So he's based in Zurich and working specifically on the healthcare system in Switzerland. So we had someone which is missing today, and maybe she's watching us now. It's Dominique Truchot-Gardot. It's sad, but she was suspecting to have COVID this morning, and for the sake of everyone, she decided, because she's a doctor, she's taking the decision. She decided to not to come. So we will invite her to the next event in January, and it will be. She has a lot of things to share in her own domain. But for now, let me fire the first question. I will start the question to Florian.
You are a private hospital. You are one of the most innovative private hospital in the world. No, in Geneva, in Romandie at least. What is your vision as an hospital, or yourself as director of innovation? How do you position yourself in this digital health environment?
Yes, thank you for this question. No, I think to me digital health is a mean to an end, and I think it's very important that we remember the end of what we're trying to achieve with digital health. And to us as a private hospital, it's really about, we follow the approach of value-based healthcare, so maximizing outcomes for patients, quality of life for patients. And as a private hospital, we also want to be a healthcare partner. So for every kind of step that you would go through your life where you might have health questions or health problems, and move from being just a sick care focused institution to become a healthcare really focused institution around prevention and other ways to improve health on a more daily basis, as it was also mentioned in the introduction. And I think to us, our vision about innovation is we are a smaller institution, probably 10 times smaller than my colleagues right here. And we want to make it easily affordable, easily doable for startups like we have here today, and make sure that what we provide as a private hospital today can become the norm for everybody in the future.
Okay. Stéphane, you have a different configuration because you're a cantonal hospital. You rank as #1 or #2 in the world in terms of quality of research. Correct me if I'm wrong. You have a complete view of the healthcare system. What is your approach of digital health, and what's happening at the CHUV, this big box in Lausanne?
Yeah, I can't correct you on that. Thank you. We are indeed ranked pretty high in terms of research, so that's quite a pleasure to see that. What's going on? We see, of course, a lot of those technologies that have been presented previously, and maybe I just want to reinforce this idea that what really has biggest chance to be implemented are things that are that bring a clear benefit to the physicians, the care team, and the patient, of course, in a clearly defined application. Technologies that are easy to learn. They don't have a steep learning curve. They don't require long trainings. Ideally, we don't have to buy new devices for those. And best chances are if you have a clear path to regulatory approval and to reimbursement. So what we see appearing and what people are looking at are often technologies that are AI-based nowadays. We see a lot of those in the news. AI has the potential to impact the entire patient journey, from predicting the affluence in the emergency ward to planning hospital resources to deal with that, helping in coding electronic health records, providing better diagnosis, better treatments, better follow-up. So there are a lot of things going on. What has been kind of complicating things in terms of development of algorithms in an industrial setting are the data protection laws, which are necessary and that we respect, of course, but that complicates things sometimes. So what we are looking into with the newly created biomedical Data Science Center is the creation of synthetic data sets and also approaches to federated learning, which might help us to get around these limitations.
Okay, it's excellent. If I am a startup, once again, I'm taking the seat of the startup. If I am a startup and I want to work with the CHUV, I don't want to go too much into the details because during the program, we want to invite you and to explain the full details of the process that you have. It's very, very interesting for all of you. But very quickly, how do we approach the CHUV? And how do we, as a startup, if I want to work with your synthetic data, for instance, or for whatever, in AI or something else, does it depend on the level of maturity of the startup, the solution, if it's ready or not? Yeah.
Well, I think it's the maturity of the project that might determine at which door you want to knock. And I recognize with a huge institution of several thousand employees, these doors are difficult to find. And we try to help a little bit on that end. So if you're starting out and you need some feedback, some advice, this can always be done with some consulting contract with a clinical expert. And if you don't know whom to ask, you can drop me a line at innovation@schuv.ch.
Take note.
I don't have a QR code, sorry. Bring one next time.
Yeah.
Maybe the next level would be to conduct research projects. Again, if you don't know whom to turn to, you can either drop me a line or contact the Technology or Knowledge Transfer Office. At the SCHUV, it's the PACT. You can find them at pact.ch. They can help you to find the relevant experts and see whether they have an interest in the project, whether we can find financing, and then put the contracts in place. Same for clinical trials. We need a principal investigator who has a patients that you are going to target, so we can try the solution in a real-world setting. We have the Integrated Center for Clinical Research who can help with establishing the protocols, CRF, and the necessary documentation for the approval by the Ethics Committee and Swissmedic.
Okay, but once again, we will invite you during the course of the program and we'll ask you to explain that in details because we know that you can.
Maybe just one last thing, because at the end you want to sell your product, and once you get to that stage, there's the joint purchasing unit for the HUG and the SCHUV. That would be the logical...
That's true, you share a purchasing unit between the two entities, which are... But you need to have the solution which is quite ready. This is what I understood. So it's ready to... It's not for clinical research, it's not at this level, right? It's something which is more... as product level. I mean, the clinical research are validated and everything is done, and then you go into the transactional relationship with your entities.
Yes, indeed. And then these new technologies, if they have a budget impact, they are evaluated by the health technology assessment. So I encourage everyone during the development to be very, very careful with any economic data concerning the solution they are proposing. So this, at the end of the process, when we do the evaluation and management has to decide whether we adopt a solution, that you have the data to prove your point.
Yeah, okay. I will ask you another question, Professor Geismüller. Is you said that you were in this industry 30 years ago. At that time, did you consider the what we call now the patient journey, or was it just the digitalization of some of the elements? And today, this patient journey, do you have specific teams which are working and bridging the different entities, different gaps to create something which is seamless for the patient? What is the level?
Well, I think the idea that digital tools can help better organize the whole health system is not something that is very new. Actually, our Minister for Health, way back in the 90s,
you already talked about that at the time, yeah.
Really pushed that we should modernize the infrastructure for IT infrastructure in Geneva, and one of the goals was to actually organize the care network through information technology. So it's not something that is new. I would say that it took probably another 15 years to get to a level where this would become credible, and where we would move from a hospital centered around medical specialties to a network centered around the needs of a patient, and recognizing that a patient doesn't spend his whole life in the hospital, at least most of them don't, and that you need to really be able to organize this whole trajectory from home to the hospital to back to the home, and that change really, I think, happened about 15 years ago, and it's still in the making,
Yeah.
because the mentalities have to change, because the tools have to be developed, because globally, the citizens need to be educated on their way of participating to this kind of endeavors. But most hospitals now are working on what we call integrated clinical pathways, ways to really try to think, what is the best possible trajectory that a patient with this health problem should take to have the maximum impact on the disease, make sure that he or she will be at the right moment, in front of the right person with the right information, so that the right decision can be made. So those are the challenges that we're facing. It's still in the making. I think there's still a lot to improve, but there are tools that have been developed, from clinical pathways to PROMs, patient-reported outcome measurements, and the fact that now it's much easier to equip all the stakeholders with connected, intelligent devices really helps create new ways of tackling this issue.
Okay. Thank you. David, we'll take a little bit of distance with you out of Switzerland. My question, because you're from Microsoft, so Microsoft has a special position in the healthcare industry, because you decided, correct me if I'm wrong, but you decided to serve many healthcare providers and not to be in front like your friends from Apple or Google, were directly in customers' hands. You are behind, but supporting the thing. So, but you are global. Do you think in Switzerland we are at the edge? Where are we in and what are the challenges here?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you, for inviting us. Let me start with the mission, what we're following in Microsoft, which is really to empower and help every people and organization on the planet to achieve more. And our standpoint is always to give the people, the organizations, the tool, the platforms, right, in order to create their own solutions to their challenges they face, right? And that's like what differentiates us to the other players you mentioned before. It's we developed, it's like a global top priority and strategy, to go into the healthcare, because especially coming out after 2 years, where like technology was actually a key component in order, to keep communication up and running, to drive real impact in the society in terms of how can we contribute to make our lives healthier, is like this focus on creating a intelligent open platform which allows the healthcare service provider, but also the entire ecosystem, to develop their own solutions to help everyone to create this sustainable value which we are looking for. And actually it's very cool that we got this also on the local level. So coming back to your questions, it's like not just globally an initiative, but we were able now to set up over the last year like dedicated teams which work very closely with hospitals, which is like my colleague, as well as like dedicated teams which work closer on the CSS, the healthcare player side. I mean, there's like still a lot of work to do, but I can fully agree that in the last week we made a first step in the right direction, right? But still, there is like so much potential to use our resources much more efficiently. I think that goes back to what Philomena said earlier. There's a lot of potential in there. And so all we want to do is like help you, with the open platform so that you can create your own solutions. And
so
that happen.
As an entrepreneur, how can you help me? I mean, you are a partner of the program. We'll have time to discuss and to have the startup to work with you. But just in a nutshell, what?
So, it depends, right? If you're a startup, we have like a dedicated program in Microsoft which we help startups, right? And that goes really 360, meaning like, from technology advisory until joint go-to-market, having joint PR activities, but also bringing you into the Microsoft ecosystem, which is actually one of the largest tech networks in Switzerland. So that helps you to scale, right? And I think that goes back what you said. You can have like the right solution, but if you don't have the right, support around it, on how you bring your solution to market or to your target segment, right? And I think that's something where I'm more than happy, to bring also the dedicated colleagues who run this program for startups, in one of the sessions where we can introduce them. Otherwise, please feel free to reach out anytime.
We'll organize that for sure.
Yeah, of course. Right. And so multiple ways. It really depends on, what is the need.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Florian, a question for you. But probably you have some Microsoft code.
We do.
At Hôpital de la Tour. But I guess it's not enough. You need more. You need. Do you work with startups? Are you interested in working in startups, or what is there?
We are.
Okay.
No, we do work with Microsoft, but not in a patient facing way right now. What we really need is to create more value for our patients. This is our mission, and this is where we believe that working together with strong partnerships with startups is very important. And what I believe is important for us as a private institution as well is to make sure that this value is going to materialize not in a too far future, but right now, and that we can start having a first product out. And I think this is maybe where we are a little bit different than a typical research institution, even though we like research, we conduct a lot of research, but when it comes to working together with startups, we want to help you bring your product out and make sure that your product is not just the technology, but actually a solution that is an end-to-end thinking behind it, and that we can actually show an actual patient, a first patient, what's the difference with the technology, with your startup, with your product, than what it was before.
I will ask the same question then for Professor Geisbühler. Oh, it was not my question, it was your question actually. Do you think are you organized internally to make sure that there is no objection to innovation at Hôpital de la Tour? Is there some protocol so that the people really embrace innovation?
I think we're too small for protocols. No,
Okay.
we do it in
good.
care. We do a lot of clinical pathways and make sure that we can bring the best outcomes. When it comes to innovation, what we do is to have a very pragmatic approach. I'm the director for innovation. I'm the main point of contact when it comes to innovation. And we don't have this huge number of people in our hospital, so it's very easy to come and have the right people around the table, even though they don't work in the same department. Because we have a lot of self-entrepreneurs, also from the physician side, that decided to go private because they have a project and because they want to do something different, and they're very keen on bringing even more value to the patients and having the help of startups. We have a lot of physicians that have funded startup themselves, and this is something that, of course, we want to reinforce and help growing.
Do you have a precise examples or that you are working on in terms of innovation? I know some of them, but
Multiple.
I want you to tell them.
The question is which one to choose. No, as I was saying, we really believe at Latour in value-based healthcare, and value-based healthcare is about maximizing outcomes, and for that you have to measure what you do and you have to collect outcomes, as you Antoine was saying as well. And we've been working with a French startup for quite some time now, which had a good technology that we had to help become a product that is for us something that is showable to physicians and showable to patients, and that they can really go beyond just the simple collection that brings indirect value to patients because they help us do better clinical pathways, but also serve them with videos or engaging contents, making a therapeutical education, giving them an overview about the entire pathway, giving them access to their files, etc., etc.
Okay, so you rely on external innovation for sure, mostly because of the size of the structure as well.
Yes, yeah. And we believe we have amazing people at Latour, so everybody at Latour, don't take it wrong, but we really believe that innovation comes from unmet needs and latent needs. And what we really realize often in healthcare institutions, if you talk to physicians and to nurses, is that they really know what they're facing today as a problem, but they don't really think about what we don't know. As when Apple came up with the iPhone, it was not a market need. All market research was saying, don't go with a touch screen. And this is exactly what worked. And we believe that working with startups is the best way to bring this latent needs and the solutions to respond to it to our patients in our hospital.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think it's quite interesting. As I said before, we are just starting a conversation. You are all partners of the Future of Health grant. We are super happy to have you and to involve you a little bit more during the next month in the program with your respective structures for testing, discussing, challenging, coaching, mentoring. That will be super amazing. I will describe in the next slide later this kind of profile. But now I just want to say, yeah, that's the beginning of the conversation, and thank you very much for your presence today.
Okay, thank you very much for this very interesting discussion. Now I invite you to hear the story of two startups. They have been through the InnoSwiss trainings, and the first one, it will be AgoraCare, Osman, that are here in front of me. He came to the training. He was a professor during the training, and he was working on a project, and then he moved into another project last year, and then he created AgoraCare 1 year ago, if I may. And since then, they raised funding, and they built an amazing board of directors. So I'm sure you will tell us more about that. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for inviting us. Yes, I'm the retired professor that went to InnoSwiss to get the course and learn about startups. And it's my pleasure today to share with you our young startups. It's been over a year now. AgoraCare tried to tackle a real important problem that we have in healthcare for many years, is the growing number of medical imaging. The problem we have is that it's growing so much that we have a problem exchanging those data. They're large data. And I don't know if you had an exam of CT or MR. Some of them may still have films, which we don't know what to do with. CDs are very difficult. There have been many years of giving CDs to the patients. And other things happening now, like web portals, where you have to have a code and a number for storing data and so forth. And you have many of those everywhere. It's a nightmare for patients to get their data together, and it's a nightmare for the referring physicians to get those data as well. They have to log on to different centers. Patient will go in a hospital, then they'll be followed in town, and it's very difficult to get all these data together. It has a major impact because very often we don't have the data when we need them, and that has an impact in how we manage patients. Sometimes we have to wait for the data to be available, so we have to get them. It can take 24 to 48 hours sometimes to get those data in electronic age. It's kind of a scandal. And we often do unnecessary repeated studies to just get the information we need. It has an economic impact, as you may imagine, because it's extra work that is being charged for. And it may have some impact on inefficiency because either you redo or you don't have the data and you may have some errors in diagnostic and so forth. So our interest in that, and this is my academic hat now, is that as we heard today, there's a big value in getting the data together, curated for research. And if we don't have the data all in one place, we can't do it. And we struggle, as we heard from Antoine, to get those data for the researchers to be able to use it. Our solution, we're in Switzerland, we created a bank where a patient has an account. It's a free account, like a bank. You have a number, like an IBAN, a card, and you can ask for all your data to be deposited. We take care of the secure transfer. Like a bank, I take care of transferring the money from one place to another, and that is free. Then that gives additional opportunity to the patient to be able to access things like telemedicine, second opinion, and also to participate in research and benefit from clinical trials when you have a disease and you want to know what's going on in the edge of medicine. So this is the global solution. Patients have all this. Patient can be sitting at home and can be accessing the data and managing the data from his own computer or laptop. Why us? Why did I start at the end of my career to start this? Because we have a long track record in my academic past life with my team to develop open source platforms. We have done many, many open sources for decades that are widely used in the world by researchers. Open source, free software, people can adopt it. And we decided to change directions and now to take care of the patient and create Agora Care. So we redesigned completely the platform. It's not researchers, it's patients, it's referring physician. They don't know what to do with the images. We had to make it very, very simple, very intuitive, and extremely fast. So you access tens of thousands of images in seconds. We have tricks. These are not diagnostic quality, but allows a referring physician to pick up the images he needs and then download them if he needs to work with them. And that is accessible on any platform, laptop, iPhone, iPad, any of the platforms that we have. And I have the lucky advantage of having a very efficient team that worked with me for decades, and they are with me now in this company, and they have a long record. They are bleeding-edge technology experts. And as we mentioned previously, we are lucky to have on our board one of the key players here in Switzerland, which is Juri Kamron, the CEO and founder of Sophia Genetics. You heard about it this morning. So we're in good company. And by that, we have addressed the problem of accessing data for research. We will curate the data. We will prepare the data to be used for research, which is a completely new business, and this is where our business is data curation, data preparation for research and for AI and other businesses. The model is very simple. I don't have the time to really explain. Basically, the patient has access to the bank, and the provider of images can deposit the images there. They just have a minimal charge of 1 franc for every study they deposit. And then we work with the people that need the images and make them connect to the radiologist and to the patient himself. So we have 3 categories of customers. We have the patients themselves, and we go through patient association. We have the image providers, radiology centers, and we have, of course, all the industry that is dying for having those images being able to prepare for research. So it's a sort of B2B and B2C market. Again, I'm going very fast on my slides. There's 2 aspects. The real money is in data preparation. So we started pilot implementation. We already have 2 networks that agreed to work with our platform, and that we started this summer, and we already have about a little bit more than 500, almost 600 patients already in the bank, and we have 600,000 images. Our target was to have 1 million images by Christmas, but I think Christmas will come earlier this year. So our financial timing, and this is my slide, and we started a year ago in June 21. We incorporated. We had 1 million to start writing our own platform, preparing our platform. Then we raised 1.8 million this year in June and started our clinical trials. We aim for a 3rd round of funding end of this year to go really on the market, both in Switzerland, in Europe, and we are starting in the US as well. So one last slide. I wanted to share that with you. This month we were selected among the 10 most hottest startups of Switzerland by Startup City magazine. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Osman. That's very, very impressive of what you have achieved in just over than a year. Now I invite on stage Esmeralda Megali. She's the CEO of Exensio. So they are doing an innovative miniature chip on skin. And so she will explain also to you what they're doing and their story. And after that, I will ask both of you on stage for a couple of questions. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. And glad to see a lot of energy from young startup companies. And then happy to see also all the healthcare providers. So I'm Esmeralda Megali, the CEO and co-founder of Exensio. And what we're developing is the lab-on-skin sensing platform. And so the big vision that we see is that healthcare in general, and I think Switzerland is also very much impacted by this, is in full transformation. That means that the healthcare services are increasingly going to be remotely. That is because there is healthcare cost. The healthcare system cannot continue as it is, but it's also patients also wanting to be staying at home for a number of reasons. The big challenge that we see is that McKinsey estimates that hundreds of billions of dollars in the US of healthcare services are going to move to remote in the next few years. But I also estimate that half of the capabilities that are needed for that transformation do not exist today. You could do glucose monitoring from home, you could do hypertension monitoring, you could do temperature monitoring, but not much beyond that, and especially on the acute side. And so at Extensio, our goal is really to build the capabilities to allow for that transformation to happen. So when you look at the wearables market in general, the Fitbit and the Apple Watch and all these devices, they provide continuous monitoring, but that remains very specific to physical data, number of steps, movements, heart rate. But what happens really in the body is not something that is captured today yet. On the other side, biosensor market, all the lab tests that we're going through, is just a snapshot at a given time. It does not provide, it's static information, it does not provide any dynamic monitoring of our health. And the market that we see at the intersection of both is really something that is going to be very, very critical in the 5-10 years. And we call it, that's the wearable biosensing market. So our solution that we're developing is called Lab on Skin, and it's a small device that we're working on that is minimally invasive, and it continuously captures very small volumes of biofluids and continuously screens its content in real time. And our goal is to capture information that is critical for patients at very critical moments in time, especially proteins and hormones. And we want that to be used in the hospital, but also at home for patients. We have been operating for a few years now. We're a spin-off of the nanotechnology lab at EPFL, and we have a broad portfolio of IP with a number of granted patents, a number of pending still. So where we see the big opportunity is going to be actually at the intersection where we are providing this data in a continuous way. And for the patients, that means that it's information that the clinician can use in real time to make better decisions, that from the pre-acute to acute to post-acute and recovery. We just last week, actually, very fresh news, we got our first, I don't know if there is a small video that we can show us, a little one, so that you can see. So you can see here the device being used, thank you very much, the device being used as for the continuous monitoring, and as we're developing and expanding this, we're going to add inflammatory markers, cardiovascular biomarkers, so that doctors can take better decisions in the hospital and after release. And we're now preparing collaboration with the Mayo Clinic in the US to work around actually sepsis cases and look at going from static monitoring today of a number of blood tests to dynamic monitoring and being able to see changes as soon as they occur in real time. Okay. Thank you very much.
I invite also Osman on stage. I have a couple of questions for you just before. Yeah, we can sit. Why not? Yeah, go ahead. Thank you very much for both of your presentation. The first question maybe for you, Osman. What is for you the most important key learnings that you had for the training as an alumni? What do you think?
Well, for me, who spent my life as an academician,
Yeah.
it was a completely new world. So I must say, I discovered what the business is, what is preparing a value proposition. Business plan was very different from budget in a hospital and so forth. So that was very important for me. And I think in that very concentrated course, I got more than I could ever do myself in terms of getting this information directly.
Okay, thank you. For you, Esmeralda, what is I'm sure you faced a lot of challenges during the creation of your startup. Can you explain us like the biggest challenges that you face and how you overcome them?
So I have to say that I really relate to the panel and what you were saying about some doctors that might be a little bit more conservative than others. In our case, I mean, we have been knocking on many, many doors to ask doctors, how could this technology, how could going from static monitoring to dynamic monitoring really help you? And for most, they're happy with what they have. They're happy with the static information, and they say, well, it's very hard for them to project. And from time to time, there is one doctor. So I mentioned in the US, we are going to start a collaboration with the head of critical care at Mayo, who really sees the potential benefit that this can bring. But I have to say that it's probably the biggest challenge for us to really find doctors that really can really become champion for us.
Okay, I think that's a good point. And also, from your point of view at a startup, what should the ecosystem do for the digital health startup in order to more easily implement them into the healthcare system?
I think an event like this, I mean, it's give us a lot of hope in the really convergence of all the different stakeholders that are needed to bring a technology. So it's not just the inventors working on their side, but it's engaging as much as possible with healthcare providers, with insurance companies early on in the process. And I think we all probably make this mistake of working on our own to improve that. And then once it's ready, we show it, probably not on your side, but for hardware companies. And then if we can have all these exchanges much sooner, then we can grow and develop something that really answers a need.
And you, Osman, what do you think?
I agree, absolutely. Actually, after the course, which is a very theoretical, full of very important information, you're left out in a jungle because you have to face two things. We are in healthcare, we need to face the medical community, and it's a challenge. And at the same time, we have to face investors. So the real part that is really missing is to learn to network. And I'm glad we have these events because networking is the key of your success. If we were able to move that quickly, first because I knew a few people in healthcare, so that helps. For that part of the network was easy for me. But also I had good coaching from our board into the investors. At early stage, it's tough to convince investors. And if you're not being coached properly, you can spend months or years trying to struggle to get the money. So networking after the course is the key.
All right. Thank you very much for the insightful talks and presentation.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
So I'm pretty sure your story will be like an example for some of the startups that we have in the room. You mentioned about networking, Osman, and for that, I invite all of you, because I see you sleeping a little bit. So I invite all of you to stand up and let's stretch a little bit and talk to your neighbor if you want, just for 1 minute, so we can like easily network for 1 minute. All right, all right.
Facile à récupérer maintenant.
I think we can take our seats back. You will have the opportunity to discuss later. It is just the start. You will have the opportunity to discuss later with a drink after the event. All right, thank you very much. I hope it helped in staying awake, and you will have the opportunity to network later with a drink. I'll give you the word to Nicolas for the presentation of the grant.
Yeah, let's go into the stuff. And what is the Future of Health grant? It's not only gathering 300 people in this room. It's more than this. It's a program which is lasting many months, if not years. I think what you understood from the talk that we had from Antoine Geisbühler, from the panelists, from the startups, is the question is not really the why digital health. It's not really the what, because there are a lot of innovations, a lot of startups, a lot of ideas. The real question that we want to target and to tackle with the Future of Health is how. How can we make the digital health to be successful, implemented into the solutions, into the hospitals, into the doctors and everything. And we need to support, we want to support the startups at their weakest point, which is actually the first months or the first years when they start from the idea to the next step, which is what you mentioned, the step of raising money. Between the idea and this raising money point, there is the danger zone. And this is what we want to avoid to the startups with this program, the Future of Health Grant. We also want to achieve some results in this kind of program is definitely to federate all the people who want to federate with the program in an open innovation mindset, where we work with the different hospitals, different doctors, federations, different people from different environments to achieve some results. And we started to create an ecosystem. So that's the purpose of the Future of Health Grant, is to have this ecosystem as well. Of course, the key partners for us is EPFL Innovation Park. You understood that from Jean-Philippe earlier in the session. They are the main point of innovations in Romandie. I'm sorry for the others, but they are. And we had to partner with them because it's the must in terms of innovation. And we have some potential partners like HUG and CHUV, who are also some critical partakers in the process. And we managed to have a growing list of standard partners, so we call standard partners, but they are important partners for us, from different types of environments. So we have La Vaudoise, for instance. La Vaudoise is interested in some specific topics, and they contribute to the Future of Health grants by bringing some money, and I will tell you a little bit more later. We have some academic entities like HES, HEARC in Neuchâtel, and we have La Source, École de la Source in Lausanne, who is focused on the training the nurses. So it's quite important entity for us as well. And we have the pharma industry. We have Pfizer and Takeda joining the thing. These guys are not only developing molecules, but they are also developing digital health solutions. Probably you know, or if you don't know, you must take an eye on that, because they are moving fast in this direction, and they are interested in sourcing some solutions from innovators like you. And of course, we have Hôpital de la Tour with a nice friend, I would say, and some technical resources, both on the knowledge and on the technology. On the knowledge, we have McKinsey and Publicis Sapiens. So McKinsey, I don't need to present them. They will contribute to the Future of Health grant with mentoring. So it's quite very interesting to get the mentoring of McKinsey. Publicis Sapiens is less known here in Europe. It's of course a subsidiary of Publicis, the French advertising company. But there are 20,000 people company, initially based in the UK, in the US, with European headquarters in the UK. And they help the pharma companies, the people who are making IoT, all the people who are innovating in the health industry, to go and to avoid the mistake in providing health solutions on the market. So they will be also part of the mentors that I will describe later. And I mentioned as well the technical people with David and Microsoft, of course, and Zulke, which is more known in the German side of Switzerland, but they have a super strong and accurate practice in deploying some healthcare solutions for different entities. I think I don't forget anyone here in the partners. The partners are growing. We're signing new partnership with different entities every week these days. The objective is to have the maximum of brain in the program, so that we have a complete view of what is this future of health, not the view of health insurance, definitely not only, but not only from the hospital, not only from the pharma, but something which is quite complete and large. So what is the grant? The grant means distributing money. So we will make some good friends by distributing money. We distribute 3 types of grants depending on the maturity of the startup that we want to assist. The first one is 10K, so 10,000 francs, and we will support over the year 10 startups with this 10K for 3 months. And for them, it's the time for making their market research, experiments, and testing their solution quickly. And if they don't succeed, don't worry, that's normal. 80% of the startups are dying one day. So it's normal, so especially at this level. But at least they had the chance, the maximum of support from us to try and to succeed and to make some nice results like AgaraCare or Extensio. Then we distribute to another level, which is the level 2 with 30K. And in this 30K, we want to support 5 startups every year for 6 months, so it's a little bit longer. And they will have the opportunity to use the 30K for prototyping, testing the preclinical studies, preparing all these kind of things. And that's the purpose. And the final level is the level 3 with 50K. And here the objective is to demonstrate the pilots and to go to the market, to meet and to use the proof of concept, and to go to the market and demonstrate that their solution is potentially working on a business level. We will support 2 startups of this kind per year for a period of 12 months. The originality of the program is that we are totally equity free, so we don't ask any equity to the startups. It's not like some other programs. We are not involved in the equity at this stage. So how does it work? It's not only distributing money. Money is it's good always. But what is more valuable is the human contact, the networking. We discussed that before, and what all the knowledge that we can bring to the startup to have them to succeed. So we have 3 types of human contribution to the program. The first one is the coaching, and the coaching is done by specialists, by professional coaches, usually from InnoSuisse. We have some of them here with Marco. I don't know. There is Kyriakos in the room as well, but I don't know if Reto. So the 3 coaches which are here, they are absolute specialists in innovation in health. So they are working for decades in this domain. They are some of them medical doctors or PhDs in life science, so they know what they're talking about, and they have coached a lot of startups over the last years. Then the second contribution with the program is the mentoring. So the mentoring is a different kind of benefits. It's the mentoring from the industry experts. So the startup will have the opportunity to work with Pfizer, with Takeda, with all the names that I mentioned, for testing their solution, for avoiding the mistakes, for getting known as well, which is quite interesting. And yeah, to get some feedbacks about their solutions from different point of view. It could be business, scientific, medical, or whatever. And the last contribution, which is quite unique, I don't think you have seen a program offering these kind of things, or if you do, reach out to me later. It's the CXO as a service. What does it mean? CXO as a service is that when you start, you're a small team. You're definitely missing someone. You are missing a chief financial officer, a chief product officer, chief marketing officer. They are missing. They are not part of the team because most of you are coming from the scientific side and you don't have the full team. The objective is to provide this person to you so that they work with you for working on the business plan, working on developing your application, on developing an AI model, or whatever is needed for succeeding. The objective is really to succeed quickly on these kind of things. And these persons are paid by the grant, and they are coming from different sources like the ARC, ARC, sorry, in Neuchâtel with their UX lab. They have a specific UX lab for designing the patient journeys. Zulke, HESSO with their engineers, and the clinic Hôpital de la Source, sorry. No, not Hôpital, École de la Source for everything which is related to care. The originality of the program is also that we won't train you on the design thinking, on these kind of things, but we have iterative circle where we identify the needs of each of the startups. We allocate the resource. We decide about the resource that you need depending of your project, and then we see the results, and again we assess the next step. So the objective is to get results, tangible results, measurable and working solutions at the end. That's the quite original purpose of this program. What does it look for the next year, for the next month? We made the selection, and Jan, Niklas, and Marco, and Johannes will present the selection later. We have 3 different batches, 3 different levels, level 1, 2, 3, as I mentioned before. They have different duration in the program. The level 1 is only for 3 months, 6 months for level 2, and 1 year for the level 3. We have 3 steps in the program. There is the kickoff today, where we know each other, we learn to know each other. Then in January, we want to organize an innovation day, where you will have the opportunity to talk with, for instance, the CSS people, so that you understand what is the reimbursement system in Switzerland. Yeah, there's exchange with the professionals in this industry, but not only with CSS, it could be with hospitals, with different entities. And at the end of the program, in September next year, we see again for the demo day, for demonstrating and showing the progress that has been done in 1 year. What I forgot to mention as well is that there are some pitches during the year, and for instance, the level 1, they have the opportunity to go to the level 2, and the level 2 to go to the level 3, if they perform well and if they deserve to go into the different level. What is next? Then, if the successful startups, they will be invested maybe by Swiss Sales Venture from CSS, but maybe not. There is no promise. nothing is done. It depends of the type of the startup and the type of success that which is achieved, or some other investors, or they can join the club, and the club is a kind of support community where the people have the opportunity to have peer-to-peer connections. They will be presented to investors. They will have the visibility on the website, and they will stay for as long as they need and they want to be part of the ecosystem of the Future of Health app. So they will permanent guest of the program. This is something that we will announce over the year next year in 2023. But it's not only for the startup from the Future of Health grant, it's also for some of the startups that we didn't select it in the batch today because they are too good. They are at the top level, and we want to keep them in our ecosystem. We don't want to leave them, let them go. They are part of what we are interested in. They are just not part of the support that we can provide here, and they will join the club and they will stay with us somehow. Jan-Niklas, I leave you the floor for talking about the selection. Yes, the key moment. Yeah.
Thank you, Nicolas. Before we get to the winners of the Future of Health grant, I will briefly talk about the selection process. I will hurry up because we all want to get to the apéro. But it's nevertheless interesting to have a look at the numbers here. We received 95 applications, almost twice as much as we had imagined in the beginning, which shows that there's really a need in the startup ecosystem for this kind of program that we are offering. It's not surprising that the majority of applications comes from Switzerland, but what is really pleasantly surprising for us is that we have a lot of applications from Western Switzerland, with 41% from the canton of Vaud and 13% from Geneva. So that really shows the innovation potential in digital health in Western Switzerland. We then had the tough task to select 10 startups out of these 95 applications. And the ones that we selected convinced us because we think they can bring great value to the Swiss healthcare system, because we believe they have the right team to execute their vision. And also we see a great fit to our program. So we think with our resources, we can really bring them from step A to B, as Nicolas explained previously. Out of these 10 startups, they of course tackle different challenges and are active in different areas. Here on the right-hand side, you can see the different categories. They don't add up to 10 because some are active in multiple areas, but we see a little cluster or 3 clusters with prevention, chronic diseases, and mental health. So our startups that we selected, they do tackle the very important challenges of the Swiss healthcare system today. That's it about the selection. I think it's time to announce the winners. And Johannes, I leave the stage to you.
Thank you, Jan-Niklas. All right, so indeed it's time to announce the winner. So here we go. The level 1 winners, we have Noria, Consulto, Ila, Glucoplay, and Vitalize. I think they deserve a big round of applause. For the level 2, we have Biped, Detectra, and Gosic. Congratulations. And for the level 3, we have Genome and Okumeda. Congratulations again. So as it was mentioned before, La Vaudoise is also giving a prize, and this prize goes to Noria. It's for the best mental health project. So congratulations again to Noria. So it's now time the time for the pitch of the startup, of the 10 startup that you have seen. So I invite on stage, I invite the startups to be ready on the side of the room. I invite on stage Noria for the pitch. The floor is yours, and the clicker is here.
Thank you very much, Johannes. Hi, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. We are very honored to be here today, and thank you for the support and the visibility. My name is Lucas Pirer. I'm co-founder and the CEO of Noria Digital Therapeutics. we can modify your tastes, your preferences. Let's reflect a couple of seconds on this claim. We found a way to reduce your liking of specific items in the environment. The implications are huge. Why? Because what you like, or what you want, determines your consumption behavior. And your consumption behavior determines your health. So you like chocolate, you eat too much chocolate, you develop diabetes. So this is straightforward. By modifying what you like, we can improve your health. And on this basis, we can treat and prevent any disorders related to the overconsumption of unhealthy items. Chocolate, food, tobacco, alcohol, and so on. This is what I just explained. How does it work? We found a way to induce targeted plastic brain modification in the reward system, very deep in the brain. This system is responsible to determine what you like on one. So by modifying this system, we can modify your taste. Our intervention induced a 20% reduction in item liking in 95% of the user. So it's large effect size and very robust. Our claim is so strong that it took me more than 10 years of research to be confident when I tell you it works, and here I am. We are the first worldwide to propose an evidence-based digital therapeutics targeting the reward system. We deliver our digital medicine via professional-level video games. This is to improve compliance and immersion. You just enjoy our games. On your preference profile, your taste will change without you being even aware of it. Nuria is a spin-off of my neuroscience laboratory at the University of Fribourg in the medicine section. We are a team of 5 co-founders specialized in neuroscience, programming, video games, and arts. We follow a B2B2C model, and we sell license packs on SLA. Our target markets are clinical institutes, health insurances, providers of dieting solutions, and pharmas. We are now focusing on our software to be certified as a medical device. This will open the prescription market, and in parallel, we follow as a lifestyle market. Thank you very much.
The next winner is Consulto. Consulto is developing a better technology to coordinate outpatient care.
Thanks so much. And it's an honor to be here and to be awarded the grant. Thank you so much. Let me ask you the question, guys. Do anyone think diabetes and hypertension together? Cancer? Autoimmune disease? Okay, these guys don't, but anyone here in the crowd knows. Fact is, most of us would know one of these profiles. And the reason is that 1 in 3 people are living with what we call a complex health condition, where you will be affected in multiple areas of your body, and you will therefore need multiple doctors to follow up on your case. As Professor Geisbuller said, that there is a shift towards more integrated pathways. And the reason for this, it comes from a need that the healthcare system in general has been designed for so long to be adapted to simple cases. I have a disease, I go to a doctor, they give me a prescription, done. Once the case gets more complex, you get lost in the healthcare system, and the more complex it is, the more time you lose and the more quality of life you lose. What we do at Consulto is that we offer an integrated model of care, particularly at the outpatient level, and the value of it has been proven for patients, for healthcare providers, and for the health insurance. Basically, we bring higher quality care at a lower value. So it exists, it's proven, but again, as was alluded earlier, it exists at a very small scale within 1 or 2 of the actors, particularly most of the time at university hospital. They would have very integrated service at the outpatient level. But we're missing a big thing here, that 90% of the outpatient care, and when I say outpatient care, I mean anything that happened without the need to be hospitalized, 90% of it is happening outside the hospital by independent doctors who are not actually connected at all by any system together and are unable to collaborate. This is our mission. Our mission is to bring this collaboration and to offer this kind of integrated care to as many patients by connecting independent doctors. But not only this, we can also help other partners and other care providers to connect their services and to offer high quality care. And we're so happy to have Latour with us here in Florian for opening their ecosystem to co-create with us this solution. And what we hope together is to develop an ecosystem that is able to solve a big problem that we have in Switzerland because we're so fragmented, but it's really a global issue. It's basically a decentralized system that allows independent doctors to offer something that's now only possible at the level of hospitals while maintaining their full independence. We offer, in order to enable this, we have a solution ecosystem that doesn't start by technology, but it starts by doctor, understanding them, starts by the patients. So we first start with patient journey design and then the workflow that supports it, and then a one-stop platform that gives them all the technological tools that enable this collaboration. Nothing more than what they need and nothing less than what they need. And in order to support this solution and to bring it forward, we have a business model that does not aim to capture value, rather create value and add value to all our key three stakeholders, the patients and the providers, as well as the insurance. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next startup is ILA, a web app for therapists and patients.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are shaping the future of health together, and in our case, it's the future of psychotherapy. My name is Cordelia, co-founder of ILA, a digital therapeutic. So we are living in a mental health crisis. So the numbers are impressive, the waiting lists are long, therapists are overworked, and yes, that paper again. This costs us lots of money, and we need solutions. So let's talk about solutions, right? ILA is a digital therapeutic, evidence-based approach for one in-person consultations in combination with online therapy. This means it's seamless care, it's personalized, it's a process optimizer, and it's a medical device software one day under MDR. So we help integrating psychotherapy in existing processes and make the journey for both therapists and patients more effective and really get the best out of the therapy. Seamless care, personalized, certified, and Swiss-made. In the end, it's all about efficiency, effectiveness, and better outcomes. So value-based healthcare. How do we make money? We sell ILA in a licensing model, and our first use case are clinics in Switzerland. Clinics pay ILA and payers pay clinics, very roughly summarized. Fully aware that it's a journey, especially for the Miguel list, let's say for the Swiss Liga, we are working on it. And of course, we are looking for partners, and after therapy, there's huge potential because secondary prevention, that's a thing. We reach break-even by 2026, targeting the Swiss market and then scale to Germany. By 2028, we aim at reaching those 30 million Swiss francs. How do we make this happen? We translate science from academia to clinics and to the market, to the community. So we have 4 clinics onboarded, by the way, looking for partners en Romandie. And we know that therapists and patients love to use ELA, and a strong team pushes ELA every day another step closer to the market. So the core team with Florence and myself, together with Thomas and Thierry Kneisler, we incorporated ELA this month. Thomas is an international expert, well recognized for blended psychotherapy. Marcel is our CTO, and together we are confident that we can really make it happen. We are closing our first financing round by end of this year, looking for 500K Swiss francs. We have clinics as our first partners on board. There are still some tickets left. And yeah, I would like to say thank you. It's a very busy slide, and hey, it's just reality, because it's a fragmented market with many players, many stakeholders, and let's make it happen. And let's shape the future of psychotherapy. Thank you so much.
The next startup is GlucoPay, who are developing a solution for children suffering from type 1 diabetes. Please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vera Ostrowski. I'm here to represent GlucoPay. This is not just another startup story. This is a small family story, because me and my husband, Alex, who is also a co-founder of our startup, we have a 4-year-old son who has been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And we have lived for 2 years managing his glucose on a daily basis, 24/7. And this is how the idea of GlucoPay was born. So kids with type 1 diabetes, they actually are just small kids, and they don't know how to carry responsibility for their own health. They don't know how to act in dangerous situations and risks. And it's very hard for them to learn and to actually explain all the potential risks. And you can't just tell a child, okay, you go out alone, you have to be careful about that. You have this device, you have that device. And of course, the technology here is a massive breakout, because we have sensors now, which was not there a couple of years ago in the health system in Switzerland. And we have a lot of kids with type 1 diabetes. Even in our small primary school in Vevey, which is Canton Vaud, we have about 7 kids with type 1 diabetes, which is huge, and the numbers are growing. So GlucoPay might seem just as a game, but it's actually covering 2 main problem solvings. So it's a game-based application which will do both monitoring the glucose, the blood sugar level, with the help of the sensor, of the CGM sensor, and it educates and brings the awareness about diabetes. It takes kind of so it takes a opportunity for, it gives an opportunity for a child to encourage him to live through this as a game and to take certain actions and to act in dangerous situations. So our market segment is obviously CGM sensor carriers, because this is how we connect the application and the data which is being collected through the sensor. And there are some quite high-quality sensors in the Swiss market. Yes, and potential collaborators here in the space. So we are starting with Swiss market, which is obvious for research development, because we have a big opportunity here to collaborate with SCHUV and to collaborate with other big universities for researchers. And we, of course, start with the local market. And then we are going to reach the European market and the worldwide market. Because obviously all the big sensor companies, they come from other countries, and not all the worldwide countries have insurance covered sensors and application for diabetes. So this is why it's important for us to target the worldwide market at first, of course. So this is the business model of how we're going to make money on that, which is also the case. So there is a T1D, okay, sorry. Thank you.
Just finish your slide and that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, we all want to go to Apero already, so I'm a little bit nervous. So this is a T1D child, and it has already a sensor. And they come with the family, because he's a small kid, to a healthcare professional who subscribes him the application, the GlucoPlay application. And this is going to be reimbursed by an insurance company. And then the other way is what I spoke about, that not all of the countries, they have sensors covered and applications covered. So there's also an opportunity for family to go straight to the web store and actually buy and subscribe for the application, which is going to be 80 francs per month. And this is not, oh, sorry. This is not the end. I just wanted to say that maybe through the networking, we will find the collaborations, and we're working on the research at the moment, and we are gathering money to make a prototype. And thanks to our Future of Health grant, I hope we can make it all together.
Thank you. Note for the startup, there is a timer on the screen, so we make sure we stick to the time. Next, thank you very much. Next one is Vitalize DX, a startup which are doing diagnosis for personalized wellness through salivary biomarkers. The floor is yours. Sure. I think it's already, yeah.
So hello everyone, my name is Han, the CSO from Vitalized. So first of all, I'd like to ask you a question. What is your opinion about speeding? Is rude? Is hatred a sign of anger? Well, in the next 3 minutes, I would like to give you another perspective of speeding. So let the journey of Vitalized begin. So for the last decades, we've been facing of the rising in healthcare costs according to the chronic diseases, and without the preventative approaches based on the accessible diagnostics, this cost will be doubled in 2050. So among all of the current methodologies we have right now, saliva diagnostic is a paramount in prevention. Because saliva contains a lot of genetic materials, it is non-invasive, it can allow self-sampleable, and it can recollect the samples as anytime as ease. And then it can allow us to screen a lot of people at the same time. And only in 2020, the saliva diagnostic market reached almost to $6 trillion with a KGA ratio of 11%. And based on of these premises, the prevention market and the wellness markets will also increase in the next decades. So looking into the solution for healthcare leads us to create our personalized wellness program. So we provide a fast and actionable genetic fingerprints on saliva based on the 4 pillars of human health: metabolism, immunity, strength, and vitality. And from diagnostics to the interpretable results, our app will allow to generate a personalized nutraceutical supplements for clients based on their own data of the 4 pillars of health analysis. And our personalized wellness journey is unmatched on the current landscape right now and positioning us as actionable and personalized intervention in the market. And our team is a diverse team of female biotechnologists with more than 40 years of accumulated experience in neuroscience, in omics, and in clinical diagnostics. And we have been working on these premises at SICK, where we together developed patented methodology for molecular diagnostics, and we also have created the 2 commercial products that relate to diagnostics. And our vision is to provide accessible and actionable prevention for clients. And our business model is dual. So our business clients are fitness centers, beauty clinics, and pharmacies. And at the same time, the direct consumers can also purchase our products through our website. And we estimate to become profitable in 2024 with a focus on Switzerland. And from 2025 on, expanding to the European market, we expect to reach up to almost like 10 million francs of the accumulated earnings by the end of 2027. So with our products, we would like our clients in the future will take the control of their own health and improve it on over their lifetime. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is Biped. Biped AI has developed a solution, a new technology for visually impaired people.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Maël. I'm the co-founder of Biped. Biped is the future of mobility for blind and visually impaired people. The whole project started about 2 years back when I saw a blind person in Lausanne crossing the street, holding his phone and FaceTiming someone to know if there was an electric scooter or an electric vehicle coming his way. I was doing a PhD in machine learning at that time, and I figured out there has to be a way I can develop something in a weekend. Turned out it took way longer than a weekend to help that person. Nailing down the problems that the person had, it boiled down to avoiding obstacles. They use a typical white cane. Head-level obstacles are not detected by the white cane. Anticipating movements of silent objects around in crowded places, electric scooters, electric vehicles, is another problem. And finally, discovering independently new places, so going from point A to point B, requires so far the help of relatives or occupational therapists. There are solutions for all those verticals. They're really expensive, electronic white canes, smart glasses, and they cannot be combined all together. So that's why we built Biped. Biped is really inspired by the field of autonomous driving and tries to embed this software into what I'm wearing today. It's a camera-based system that scans all together 170 degrees of field of view in front of the user. And our proprietary software will analyze the scene, detect all obstacles, predict all sorts of collisions that could occur, and warn the user using any type of headphones. So we have those small bone conduction headphones that are worn around the ears, but could be any type of headphones like the AirPods, for example. So if there's a vehicle coming from the left, we will play a short sound coming from the left, so the person has this directionality of sound coming into place, which allows the person to move very smoothly. They still have to use the white cane to signal they're blind, but it allows them to move very smoothly to avoid obstacles, and we added GPS on top. I co-founded this project with Bruno Vollmer, who's a CTO of the company. We're addressing a market where there is close to 5 million blind and severely visually impaired people in Europe and in the US. We have a business model where, yeah, the slides are a bit fucked up, but we're building a business model where we're selling the Biped for $99 a month. So that's a subscription model we have, or aiming for the reimbursement of the solution directly in Switzerland. That drives us a $6 billion annual recurring revenue opportunity. We have been developing Biped for about a year and a half now since incorporation, and we'll be launching shipping the first units end of October this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maël. The next startup is Detectra. So they are doing a deep learning algorithm to forecast disease activity in rheumatoid arthritis. The floor is yours.
So good evening, everybody. I'm Marc Blanchard from Detectra, and I'm glad to be at this great event. So arthritis, about 1 billion people suffer from arthritis around the world. It's a disease that costs millions because it's very painful, it's disabling, and also because the patients are very hard to treat. So arthritis comes with hard-to-predict flares that damages the tissues and worsen the patient condition and the disease activity over time. So the goal in arthritis care is to predict these flares, adjust the treatment at the right time, and then eventually prevent the flare and optimize the patient outcomes. The problem is that it requires a proper monitoring of the disease activity, and currently there are no specific biomarkers for arthritis available. That's the reason why I'm presenting you Detectra. It's the first arthritis digital biomarker, and basically it only requires a picture of the hand to track the disease activity. It tracks the dorsal finger fold patterns that are changed during the inflammation mediated by arthritis. You can simulate the phenomenon by pinching your skin at the level of your finger joints. So rheumatologists and arthritis care centers are submerged by scheduled patient visits, where most of the time the patients, they come and they feel well, but in between the visits, usually it goes, when something goes wrong, then it's usually too late. They cannot get an appointment because there's only one rheumatologist for 4,500 people with rheumatic conditions in Switzerland. It's almost 4 times more in the US. So there's really significant potential to relieve that system with a solution like Detectra. The future of arthritis care has to involve a solution that, from one side, would optimize the patient journey, allowing the patient to monitor themselves with a self-monitoring tool and empowering them. And on the other side, it also has to help clinicians, hospitals with the patient management. That's the reason why we want to provide an app for patients and also a clinician dashboard for patient management. There is no need to schedule patients that are fine, while others may really need a visit as soon as possible. So for the roadmap, we secured the technology with a patent last year, and we also made a first proof of concept with the first MVP. And we are currently in a validation phase where we recently launched a clinical study among healthcare centers in Switzerland to validate the biomarker for early flare prediction. And we are also about to start user experience design testing among clinicians and patients to optimize the usability of the product because we really want to reach a great adoption, which is one of the major challenges in this field. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Next up is Gossick. Gossick has developed a personal assistant for patients and families suffering from ADHD.
Hello, everyone. My name is Diego. I'm one of the 2 co-founders of Gossick. So we all have heard about ADHD, but did you know that 3 to 7% of all people are affected by it? That's 1 out of 20. Now, people with ADHD struggle 10 times more when it comes to staying organized than others. They have difficulties structuring their day, difficulties prioritizing their tasks, and often forget their things. Now, so far, there are ADHD coaches, therapists, and medication trying to support people with ADHD. However, none of them can assist them in their everyday life, which is when they would need it the most. We are here to change that. We have developed a digital productivity assistant that helps people with ADHD to stay organized and manage their daily life. Currently, we are focusing on the ones that need it the most, parents of children with ADHD. Because here we have an overwhelmed child, we have an overwhelmed parents, and we even have an overwhelmed school system and teachers. Not to mention that very often one of the parents has ADHD as well, as 80% of the children inherit their symptoms from their parents. Now we offer a scalable 4-week coaching program to teach parents and their children the methods and structures needed to tackle ADHD and to be organized. After this initial coaching, they can use our app with the integrated methods to manage their daily life. Our key USP is that Gossick really takes its users by the hand and proactively communicates with them throughout their day, which is very crucial for people with ADHD because they cannot manage their day by themselves. We have already generated first revenue and are now actively building partnerships and distribution channels. We have established first partnerships with ADHD coaches and chief doctors in the ADHD space. We also use schools as multipliers. Here we are already in talks with 6 Swiss and 3 German schools. Another big advantage for us is that parents are looking for help online. There's tons of active social media groups, and just the term ADHS, which is German for ADHD, is searched up to 100,000 times per month in the DACH region only. Now we plan to exploit both online and offline channels to reach 50 parents by the end of the year and 250 by summer 2023. And we are the best to pursue that. We're two co-founders that have known each other for more than 20 years, and with our backgrounds from ETH Zurich and HSG St. Gallen, we have the ideal complementary skill set in business and tech. And with our great investors, such as Paul Sevinch, founder of Doodle, and also Nicole Herzog, founder of B2V, we're really excited for the next steps to come. Now, also, if you have any touch points in the ADHD sector, or you know some schools or doctors or companies that are open for collaboration, please come and talk to me afterwards at the booth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We move to the level 3, the more mature group, with Genomi, that are doing a disruptive blood analysis solution at your DNA level. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Samira Gonzet-Musleh. I am the co-founder of Genomi. So, nearly half of early death in the Western world could be prevented by changing lifestyle factors, such as changing diet, stopping smoking, reducing alcohol, increasing physical activity. And that is a fact that medical doctors know very well since a long time. But they have difficulties in convincing their patients to make those changes. And I'm not blaming the patients, because we all know it's difficult to change a bad habit. So in Genomi, we support those medical doctors and other healthcare professionals while they accompany their patients into making changes in lifestyle. And we do that by providing a novel blood test that measures the impact of lifestyle directly on the genes, and that's highly personalized. The patients with that information, they get a call for action to change something, and then they can monitor the progresses over time by repeating the tests. We are a B2B business, and we've entered the market 2 years ago in the segment of high-end medical private clinics and hospitals and doctors' offices. And now we are mostly on the Swiss market, and in the next 4 years, we intend to move and to expand in the European market and then the rest of the world. We also intend to address a new market, the more mass medical market, by providing new products, which will be, we are now a lifestyle product, and we want to go towards being a medical diagnostic screening tool for cardiovascular diseases and other chronic diseases. As of today, we have about a dozen of customers, which yields a yearly revenue of 300K Swiss francs, and we expect to grow and to have 150 customers by 2026 and yield a revenue of 17 million. We are a team of 8 people. A bunch of us are scientists, biologists, medical doctor, epidemiologist, laboratory technician, and we have also resources in business administration, marketing, and sales. And we have been supported by the partners of this great ecosystem here, and some of the representatives are in the room here, and I see the opportunity to thank them. And I thank you for your attention and the Future of Health Grant for the great support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, last but not least is Ocuomeda. Ocuomeda has built a solution to simplify the access to medical eye examinations.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Great news. I will be the last person that stands between you and the apéro. But it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Ocuomeda. It will be the future leading telemedical AI player in eye care. On the left, you will see our team with Benedict, our CEO, and Chris. He's a specialist in AI development and software development. And And then we have two eye doctors, Christian and me, myself. I'm professor for ophthalmology at the University of Bern. So why do we do this? And why is this going forward all the time? The problem is that every 10th person, I'm sorry for that. Is there some way to stop that? I'm not doing anything. Every 10th person is suffering from a fundus eye disease, and most people don't know about it. And so 75% of all vision impairments could have been prevented with early diagnosis and early treatment. So sorry guys for your startup, but we kind of cannibalize your blindness market, we hope. Yet only 25% of people are seeing eye doctors on a regular basis. So we want to get very basic and easy access eye care to everyone. And how do we do that? We have basically stationary screenings at optician stores or pharmacies. And in that store, you can buy eye examination, eye screening, and we have a conversion rate of about 15% of the customers in the stores. They pay 85 Swiss francs at the moment out of their pocket, and we have a revenue split between the opticians and Ocumeda. The other way is mobile screening. That means we go with camera and diagnostics to elderly homes, or we also do corporate health screening. So if there are any corporates here who want to do something really good for their employees, just give me a call. We do corporate screening, and all this data goes into a platform, a encrypted platform, and there we share these images with eye doctors who will do a digital health report, and you'll get that digital on your iPhone within 2 or 3 days. And all this data we also use for the data place. So we develop AI software out of this labeled data to facilitate the screening procedure for our doctors and to reduce screening costs. And the fourth column is the network play. So we have collaborations with big ophthalmology chains and pharma companies, medtech companies that are interested in this data. So what is our traction? We have current partners like Fielmann, who is one of the biggest optician chains in DACH. We are in 10 locations currently. We already did 4,500 screenings. And we have 50 plus more planned locations. We're doing about 850 screenings a month. And we have about 18% of abnormal findings. So we already referred 800 people to ophthalmologists to take care of their eye disease. So where we want to go is we want to go up to 1,000 access points by 2024, doing 1 million exams a year. We want to have the AI anomaly detection ready by 2024. And beyond the eye is also a very important topic for us. So by looking at the retina, at the fundus, we think we can have a risk for stroke or hypertension and cardiovascular diseases, neurodegenerative diseases. With that, I would like to end. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Ocumeda. We have been really thrilled by the quality of all the project. Before you stand up, we just have a few things to tell you. So keep in mind, those 10 startups that has been presented to you is only a fraction of all the initiatives that we will support at the Future of Health grant. And we hope that all of you, either if you are a startup, a student, a corporate, an insurance company, a healthcare provider, or whatever, you will join your forces together to help all those disruptive solutions to go to the market. So I think this is only the beginning of a very nice story.
Yes, also from my side, a big thank you to everyone involved, all the panelists, the speakers, the startups, everybody here in this room who contributed to this great evening. I want to invite you to as this is a kick-off event, to use the apéro afterwards to kick off the conversation about the future of health, and enjoy the evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And for just because I know we have some business concept alumni, so for those of you, you have some tables where you can meet your cohort mates next to the apéro. And also, I invite all of you, of course, to follow us on LinkedIn, Future of Health, and you can also have a look at our website, futureofhealth.org. And we hope to see you for the next event. Thank you.